For Confucius, the supreme virtue from which all other virtues stem is Ren, variously translated as goodness, love, humanity, or benevolence. There is one such man who epitomizes the meaning of the word benevolence, because he is a man possessing the noble characteristics of humility and politeness, tolerance, honesty and faith, diligence and kind care. To many who had the honor and privilege of meeting such a man, he has become everybody's benevolent father.
Actually, the story of SEAOIL begins in 1962 with my father as an 18-year-old. Nagsimula siya as a collector in a service station in Grace Park, Caloocan to pay his way through college. So student siya sa MIT, Mapua Institute of Technology, as a civil engineering student. As a collector, doon naman niya na-meet yung mom ko sa one of the companies na pinupuntahan niya doon. Yung mom ko naman, working student rin at that time. And in 1967, they got married and they started a service station. And they call it Filipinas Service Station noong time na 1967 sa Taft Avenue, corner Angeles Street. Finally, nag-graduate yung dad ko. I was a 4 or 5-year-old already. Noong 1977, nung mag-expire na yung 10-year contract, they decided to start a business of their own. And in 1978, doon nag-start yung SEAOIL.
I always remember he tells me na SEAOIL started when my life began. He was opening our depot facility in Mandaluyong. And then it was raining, he was wearing his boots. He got a call, so basang-basa raw siya na my mom was about to give birth to myself.
He was really hands-on to driving the tank truck himself. And as an entrepreneur, you do even the most basic things. Him on a motorbike with my mom, and really skinny, and his big glasses, shades. Like, oh, forma pala ng daddy ko, no?
Well, the way I remember it was, I was in the gas station and we were playing chess. So I think it was really a family affair.
I remember watching my dad as a child with his eyes closed while sitting on his easy chair many weekend afternoons. One day I decided to ask him, "Dad, why do you like to sleep on a chair?" And I remember him saying, "I'm not sleeping, I'm just thinking." So this is how it was. He spent a lot of time thinking, perhaps dreaming of this day 35 years later, perhaps logically sorting out how he would build SEAOIL to the point where it is today.
Benevolence as the founding father's virtue shines throughout the company because he was able to govern well.
When you look at him, there's something about him that commands respect. Not because he owns a company this big, but because he knows not just how to run his business, but how to run his people.
I think one of the cornerstones of his relationship with us is to make sure that we are ready for this world right from the beginning.
I remembered when I started first, there was no briefing. He just told me to make myself useful in the company. So he wants us to be go-getters rather than reacting to a situation.
But in order to govern the company well, he must establish harmony in the family.
Aside from being the pillar of this company, aside from being the person who built all of this, is somebody that acts like your father.
Basta sa akin, lagi siyang nandyan. Sa amin, lagi siyang nandyan. Pag kailangan ko ng advices, pumupunta lang ako sa kanya.
There was this very challenging moment that we were all really looking for directions. He tapped me on my shoulder and he said, "Sama-sama tayo." And that's more than enough, actually, to basically boost me up
I remember the time when he and his wife told me certain things about love, which is so far from what I do. I mean, so far from being an employee. You know, they gave me advice on how to love. And that for me was important, not just because somebody who's experienced was talking to me, but because somebody really cared.
It was also in one of the first partners' night. We were wanting to look for a speaker. And I was the one who approached Sir Francis. Said, Sir Francis, baka pwede naman po kayo mag-speech. Of course, he was willing to. Pero I remembered him saying also na napangiti ako. Oo, pero alam mo, Art, may 3 rin akong anak. Magagiling sila. Pili ka rin sa kanila. If you think about it, it only shows how Sir Francis actually believes in the capability. And I think it's not only limited to his sons. That also actually is reflected across the organization. How he believes in the capability of the people that is part of the organization.
To impose discipline, he had to set his mind in order, and he must make his purpose sincere.
I've always wondered to what extent other people have to go through in terms of challenges. The fact that maybe I haven't felt as much shows how much he's been there.
Dad made sure we gained perspective of the world and where we stood. He brought us to see the poorest as well as the most well-to-do parts of the world. This was quite an education for me. It made me realize where we came from and where we might go if we worked hard.
In a way, he's my mentor. He taught me how to become an entrepreneur. Besides him being a mentor, he's also a friend. And being the eldest son, I've always felt that I could share my ups, my downs, all my experiences with him. And he is siguro one of the people that has encouraged me a lot. I'm not going to be where I am today, if it were not for the relationship I have with him.
He's the kind of guy that I would want to be someday, and I hope that he knows this. We aspire to be like him, and to be like him to an organization that we ourselves will own someday.
What I'm amazed is he still learns, and to a certain extent that he doesn't stop learning. I think is really one of the most valuable lessons. He didn't say you can't do this, you can't do that. It was sige, and okay. So I think even now that style is, I think what makes the company really great.
Clearly, if knowledge is complete, the purpose becomes sincere. With a sincere purpose, the mind is set in order. With the mind set in order, the family achieves harmony. With harmony in the family, the company becomes well-governed. With a company well-governed, there is peace and benevolence.
Kasama ko siya na humarap kami sa isa sa mga creditors namin at nakita ko sa kanya na even during the midst of difficulty, hindi siya nahiya sa aming mga anak niya na ipakita at ma-experience rin namin yon. Yung integrity in terms of seeing that side na okay, meron tayong mga siguro pagkukulang, pero at the same time, we're going to own up to our responsibilities as a family and as a business.
My father is the most astute individual I've ever met. He then capitalizes on everyone's strength and guides them to a position where he feels that they will use their talents to the fullest. He really does empower you.
I was new in the job. I was faced with a very difficult challenge when we had a couple of ships that were in distress, nagbabanggaan. So I went back to my dad and asked him, how should we handle this? What I can remember is he threw the question back at me. Ikaw, ano sa tingin mo, anong dapat mong gawin?
We were doing geometry in school. And then there was a problem I couldn't solve, and he solved it pretty quickly. I learned a lot from my dad. So ever since I was young, he was there to help and teach.
I just joined the family 3 years ago. So far, good. Happy. I should have done this earlier. It's been a blessing to work for my father.
One thing that I've learned from him that I will remember him for is that he let us do what we wanted, and he allowed us to make mistakes, and that through hard work you can achieve anything.
He has touched so many lives in a positive way, and it is his integrity that he has passed on to his children, and I hope to everyone that works with SEAOIL.
May open door policy ang SEAOIL, so pwede kang dumiretso kung may kailangan ka sa kanila. You want to talk with them, susuportahan ka nila.
Yung bang hindi ka ma-intimidate sa kanya. Halimbawa, makasabay mo siya sa elevator, for example. So, babatiin ka niya and tatanungin ka niya kung kumusta ka sa trabaho, kumusta ka sa personal mong buhay, and para talaga siyang second father na rin sa amin.
This is one of the things I always tell him during Father's Day, during his birthday, that I hope he would be proud as a father, the way I have been, the things that I have done for the company and the achievements that I have had for myself as well.
Talagang hanga ako sa kanya, very focus. Meron siyang malayong pananaw para sa SEAOIL. Yaan ang malawak na pananaw actually ni Mr. Yu. Sa dami ng pinasokong kumpanya, ako ang naging mentor ko, idol ko si Mr. Yu.
The whole organization really looks up to him as the model and the champion and the driver and the pilot. What really makes us proud is he is actually making sure that the organization is trained to be like him.
I always ask the Lord for continued wisdom for him, that he may continue to encourage people, that he may continue to leave a legacy that he started all the way 35 years ago, as the founder of the company.
My prayer is that that he continues to be in a state of happiness and meaning and health. He has 16 grandchildren now. I'd want to see him when he has 16 great-grandchildren.
I admire my father's love for my grandmother. He has shown unconditional love. My prayer is that when my father reaches my grandmother's age, I hope that he is still in good health and we can still spend Sunday lunches together.
It's really joy and happiness, and that there's guidance.
That he continue to bring sunshine to the company. Yung simple life niya lang, every day that we see him in office is already a source of inspiration for a lot of us in SEAOIL. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
Ang panalangin ko kay Mr. Yu, ingatan siya sa araw-araw, panatiling malakas ang kanyang pangangatawan, maging matalas ang pag-iisip, ibigay pa sa kanila ng may kapal yung katalinuhan kung papaano mapangasiwaan ang SEAOIL.
My prayer for Sir Francis is to stay young. We believe that his continuous presence is something that will really push the organization beyond where it is right now.
My prayer for him is a prayer of gratitude. The difficulty of not having your wife beside you after having started everything with her. The fact that he was able to get through that and still become who he is. A big thank you to the Lord for that. Now that he doesn't have his wife beside him and he's still doing those things, means that he's a very strong person. And I hope that he finds his strength right now, not just in the Lord, but in everybody who helps him run his company. And the level of trust that he gives us, I hope that we can repay him for by making this company grow 7 times more or 10 times more than what it actually is right now. And with him there, I'm sure we can.
Itong business na to, this is not really our business, but this is really the Lord's business. And that we have to be responsible stewards of the business. So for me, I think that that is His legacy to us as a company.
Thank you, Dad.
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 Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Mr. Francis Yu, SEAOIL founder, benevolent father.